Hi, my name is Veronica,
And I'm Maria.
and we're just here to kind of share experiences of what women go through or what we've gone through that other women can, um, I don't know, relate
Relate to.
to, and maybe having the same struggles that we are. So, one of the things that we wanted to talk about is dating, which is very vague because we broke that down in I don't know how many topics. And so today we kind of want to talk about a TikTok that I seen that was someone was saying like, "What do you bring to the table?"
Right.
And we were talking about like,
Right.
if you ask me, "What do I bring the take? Oops, what do I bring to the table?" I'm gonna start identifying either my characteristics and
Right.
then what physical things I have. So
Right.
like house, car, job,
Right.
that type of stuff. But in this situation, in the what the lady was saying was that besides that, what do you bring to the table? Like what does the table need?
Right.
So if we look at being in a relationship as a like we're in a partnership,
Mm-hmm.
what does our partnership need versus what I have
Mm-hmm.
and what you have,
Right.
right? And what is it that we're going to build together?
Right.
So when I don't know if you've ever asked anybody that, but
No, not personally. I mean, like at work, of course,
yeah,
like we talk about those issues, but not personally. But I think the thing about the video that was interesting is the lady responded, she brings to the table the ability to look at the table and see what needs to be done. So then I was thinking about this and I was like, well, isn't that kind of what being a single mom is? Like you have the entire table is yours. So you have like the entire table is what you have to do. You have to look at it every day. You have to see what needs to be done. And then if something needs to be done later, you have to schedule it. So the entire table
yeah,
is yours.
yeah, you set it and you clear it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and that's like emotionally, there's stuff emotionally on the table. Like you said, there's physical stuff like the house, the car, things like that. So, financials, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into kind of raising a kid or having a family on your own. So, the entire table is yours.
Yeah.
So, you're looking at it every day and you're seeing what needs to be done. So, like her answer, and I'm sure there might be more to her video, so I can't say it's wrong or right or whatever. But I think like her answer didn't fit with kind of like my life because I feel like, or your life because I
Right.
feel like single moms, you look at the table every day, see what it needs.
Right. And then depending on how long you've been managing that table, right? Been looking at that table dealing with and you've been a single mom for however long or been
Right.
single, it's like when
Right.
someone else is introduced to the table, what do we what do we do? It's kind of like bringing someone for the
Right.
first time to Thanksgiving. Like, do you expect them to act a certain way? Do we expect
Right.
them to do certain things?
Right.
Do we expect them like our expectations up here, but they can only bring this much? Like they can only bring
Right.
the dang
Right.
green bean casserole that
Right.
nobody eats, or do they step it up and bring? They're like, I'm bringing the main dish. I'm bringing the turkey, or I'm bringing a ham, and
Mm-hmm.
this is what's gonna
Mm-hmm.
add to
Right.
that feast that's already there, what the table is needing in
Right.
order to be united and have this unity of whatever it is that
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to create,
Mm-hmm.
right? And sometimes I remember one night you and I were talking and you're like, maybe my expectations are too high. And I think that's when we start to feel like it's our fault.
Right.
We haven't found a partner,
Right.
but it's not our fault. It's more like we're more independent and we
Yes.
expect more out of people.
Yes. Yes.
And so what could they bring to us
Right.
in terms of to this table, that because we see things, I think you and I, because we talk a lot and we share our dating horror
Yes.
stories and funny stories and then some okay stories, right?
Right.
Not to say that every person we met has been a bad choice, but
No.
we
No.
learn something different from each person, right? Each
Right.
person that we come into contact with, whether it's a friend or a date or whatever. Um, and so I just lost my train of thought where I was going with that.
Okay. Well, one of the things we talked about was what would you be willing to give up from the table? So you're
Yes.
managing this table
Yes.
and you have everything set. You know that you're taking care of it. So it is done. It is, whatever. Like, what are you willing to give up and hand over to somebody else that you would be okay with? Like, okay, I'm okay with them handling A, B, or C, whatever it is. Because in my head, I'm thinking that directly affects me, that directly affects my kid. Like, how well do I know this person? Are they really going to come through for me? Like, and I know that's all a learning process, and you have to kind of give up something in order for them to show that they're dependable. But still, for me, that's a very scary thing. Like,
And we were talking, now I remember our conversation that didn't record last time that was really good, was that what could we trust them with?
right.
Like, we start out, we're going to start out with little, like, okay, you can bring the napkins to the table, right? And if you can make the napkins to the table, then maybe I'll
Right.
trust you enough to do that, to bring the silverware.
Right.
So it's like, nowadays, and it may not be every guy or girl or woman, whatever, every man or woman, but I think that we have come, things are evolving differently where women are more independent. We have our own businesses, we have our own careers, we have our own money, we have we don't need a man to provide us that materialistic stuff, where in the past that's kind of like the tradition is, the man provides, the woman stays at home, raises the kids or whatnot.
Right.
Then it was like both people have to work because we can't afford to live with just one person staying home, right? And then it became like women became very empowered.
Right.
And we're like badasses in the workplace, right? So then we're just striving for greatness and keep on going, when then it becomes unattractive to men because to some of them, yes. Yeah. Because then it threatens either their, I don't know, pride or ego, or like maybe they believe like, well, what do I have to bring then? Like, I have nothing to bring. But I think they're looking in sense of materialistic things, of being able to take care of us financially, but not looking at the emotional part, and like being connected and seeing it as a partnership versus I'm the one that brings the money, you depend on me, you take care of this. So like roles are kind of switching, but we want to see it more as we can both both male and female can do the same things. Why can't we be a partnership? Just like if you had a coworker, why can't we, and we work well with our male female coworkers, why can't we work well in a partnership?
Right. And I think like for me, like safety would be like number one. Like that's something that they could bring. Are they a safe person to be with? Are they like are they dependable, reliable? Like are they going to put their hands on me? Like that kind of stuff, right? And so like even when I was talking to that guy and he was like, yeah, but you make more money than me. And I'm like, I don't expect you to bring that to the table. What I do expect you to bring to the table is I need you to provide safety. I need you to be a safe place for me to go or to talk to, or, so that's more important to me than how much money you bring to the table. But he couldn't get it. Like he kept going back to, but I can't provide that for you. And I'm not asking you to provide monetary stuff or expensive gifts or anything. I'm asking you to provide safety, but he couldn't get past that point.
Well, when you bring up safety too, and I guess, and what you're saying, that individual, right? That guy, he was intimidated because you made more money, right? And anybody can make money. He could possibly make more money, right? Maybe looking for a different job or getting another job. But that's, like you said, he was just so stuck and focused on that. And you're like, safety. And for him, safety was, if I can provide money, right, monetary, then that's safe. But then some guys may also think, and maybe some women, I don't know, may think safety in terms of like, can you physically protect me, right? Yes and no, we want that, but more so like, could we be vulnerable with you? could we trust to tell you some of the things that we don't share with everyone?
Right.
You know, whether it's, you know, something that's going on with me personally that has nothing to do with anybody else, or, you know, struggles that I'm having, like whether it's with family, friends, or work or whatever.
Right.
And, you know, obviously to a certain extent, because nobody wants to come home every day and repeat the same complaint about work, right?
No.
Nor do we want to be like nurturing this addiction, right? Because if he doesn't want to listen to me and be my safe person to go to, then I'm just gonna have a glass of wine or two or three or just the bottle, right?
No, not that either. No.
So it's like, but also, you know, looking at the other way, like, what do men feel like they need from a woman in terms of like safety?
Right.
You know, how do they view safety? Like, do they want a woman to be their safe person, and what does that mean to them? Because we can explain what our safety is to us, right? And then, you know, the viewers can also put in their opinion of what they feel safety is for them. Whether you're a man or a woman, definitely want to hear what that might mean. And what do you bring to the table, and what does bringing to the table mean to you? And if you do have a partner, how has that partner shown up to the table?
Yeah. Those would all be good feedback.
Yeah.
Good comments about that. And I think, like, again, if you've been managing the table for a long time, what would you be willing to give up or to hand over to somebody so they could take over?
Yeah. And me personally, that would be very difficult to even, I don't even know where I would begin to allow them to start to build that trust. So I'm going to have to start thinking a little bit deeper in terms of what would be a first step.
Yeah. Because you don't want someone who doesn't want to participate in the table, because then you just end up taking care of multiple people. Like, you want someone who's going to take some of that stuff off your plate, but then you have to be willing.
Right. So maybe like show up.
Yes.
First step, show up.
Show up when you say you're
right. There's the invitation. Show up. Show up when you say you're gonna do. Right.
That would be
do what you say you're gonna do,
instead
of just do a lot of talking. Because a lot of times we get these these empty promises or these pipe dreams that don't ever get fulfilled. And you know, and I don't know about you, but sometimes when I attracted to somebody, or I'm dating somebody, and then I kind of fantasize like, oh, what would this future be like? Right. We get into this little fantasy world, and then as things progress or don't, then it's like, oh yeah, no. That fantasy was just that, a fantasy.
Yes. Yeah.
So we know that dating nowadays is very hard. Everybody, I think a lot of people are really stuck with behind the scenes on our phones with social media dating apps. And we can present one way outside of that, but in person, it's like our words are gone, or, you know, what you said you are, or how, you know, your personality or things you like to do or not like to do is totally different. Right. Or where, you know, people are putting these pictures on that, you know, from like 20 years ago or 10 years ago, and not only women, but men do it too.
Yes.
So, you know, True. Men can't say, oh, it's just the women. No, men do it as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, how, you know, if you can't be honest from the get-go,
right,
what's the point, you know? And they're not, that means they're not going to show up. They're going to show up with something they're going to say, I don't know what, it's going to be a facade. So it's kind of like, I think of it as honeymoon period, right? Everything sounds good during the honeymoon, right? And then when the honeymoon phase kind of fizzes out, and then you start seeing the real person, and it's like, you know, it's saying both ways, right? Like, are we going to want to deal with those flaws, or are we going to start to find things that we're going to say, oh yeah, no, but or do we self-sabotage? I know that could be another topic, is self-sabotage. And how do we self-sabotage? Either wanting to go out and be, you know, look for a partner, or when we're in a relationship, how we self-sabotage. And, you know, sometimes it's from past baggage that we bring that we haven't resolved. And then we just kind of, in our, you know, subconscious, it kind of gets triggered. And then if we don't connect it, we just repeat those patterns.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic.
So, I think, working in closing is like thinking about what do we bring to the table, because we all have these great qualities about
Right.
ourselves. And we absolutely have flaws. We're not perfect in any way, but even if it's a flaw that you're able to share and say, well, this is one of the things that I struggle with. Am I willing to work on that to not only better myself, but to be a better person at the table for my partner?
Right. I think simple acknowledgement that this is something that I know I need to work on, and I want to work on it while I'm with you, but I just want you to know that this is something I have to work on. Then that would be like great communication, great start to the relationship, because like you said, we're not all perfect.
Right.
And so I think that, and that is something that they can bring to the table, that honesty, communication that isn't monetary and isn't about having a house or a car. I mean, because that all in the end goes towards having a safe environment.
Yeah. All right. Well, until we, next time, right? Yes. Until the next session that we have, we'll come up with another topic. If you guys have any ideas that you want to bring up, and we can kind of share our experiences with that, or feedback on this, because this was our trial run, and each time we tried. Yes. The mechanics of it. So any feedback's good feedback for us, and then we can tweak and make changes just so that it's not only beneficial for us, but it's also beneficial for those who may thought, is this only happening to me? No, it's happening to a lot of us.
Yes.
So until next time, we'll see you guys. Bye.